All right, now we're going to work on some reinforcing some rebar and then the steel beam and the columns and base plates. So I've got this footing here done. Um, so I've got that one done, and let's see, this section shows it in section view here. Okay, so that one's done. Now I'm going to walk you through how to do it over here on this one. Okay, so you're going to need two section views. Um, does this show? No. So here's my sections. I've got them through the footing so that I can see what I'm dealing with. I'll go to my section. I go to structure, and I go rebar, and you're going to have to load a shape. It's going to ask you to load a rebar shape. So you want to load, and it's shape 00. Yeah, right here, rebar shape 00. That's just a straight bar. Okay. Now before we let's back up. Before we do that, let's go to reinforcement here and hit our pull down, and let's go to our cover settings, and let's change our rebar cover 1 to 3 inches, and then go OK. Let's see, is there anything else I need here? Settings. No, we're okay with all that stuff there. Okay, so then we can go rebar, shape 0, and all this stuff will populate. And sometimes you have to play with these different settings here to get what you want. In this case, we want a fixed number of bars. We want 3 bars, and a 1/2 inch bar is kind of the normal that it loads with to start with. And then I come down here and I hover over the center of my footing, and you see it'll show them. And that little green dashed line is the where I can place my bars using that 3 inch minimum cover. And so I want to go down as low as I can, and I'll place it. Okay. And then let's pop over to my second section. And then I want to place another one just above it there. Okay, and now then, should have done this while we were in here, but let's select one of the sets of bars and go to visibility, the view visibility. And let's scroll down to, I'm just doing this so that I can see them while I'm working on them. My top of footing plan, I want to turn it on. And I want to do the same thing for the first set. Floor plan, top of footing. And I go back to my top of footing plan, and I want to look at it and make sure I got 3 bars that are equally spaced and centered up in there. Okay, and so that's how that works. Now, you can do rebar all the way around your wall footings, unless you're, of course, if you're a structural designer, you may do that because it can run some calculations and stuff. Normally, an architect is not going to put them into the model. We would just put rebar in the section details when we're working on our details for the drawings. So I want you to do these 2 footings just so you kind of get a feel for it. Okay, you're welcome to do more if you choose to. That's fine. But do at least those 2. Okay, now then, let's look at the beam. We want to put the beam in before we put the columns in so that the columns can attach to the beam. And you're going to have to load it. So I'm going to work on my top of foundation wall because the top of the beam is at the same level as the top of the wall in the case of this building. So you go beam, and you're going to have to load a family. You're going to want to load the W8x21, and it's located in your library, of course, under structural framing, steel, and you scroll down to the wide flange, and you want to scroll down and choose the W8 by 21. You're going to load that family, and then if I'm going to draw one right across here from center wall to center wall, and it's going to cut it back to the edge of the wall. Now, if you're just showing up as an individual line, it's because you want to change down here to fine detail. Okay. Now the norm is for it to give me a gap here of, I think it's a half inch is the way it's set up. Yeah, it's set as a half inch. But I want it to come inside my wall because we're actually going to rest in the wall. So I'll drag that end over until I get a measurement. And I want 3 1/4 inch. Okay. And then at the other end, same thing. I want 3 1/4 of an inch. Now let's look at them. Okay, that's got, whoop, it went the other way. So let's go minus. Okay, so I want it actually inside the wall. And then go to my section view. I think that was that one? No. Okay, and so you can see I got, oh, I forgot to tell you that part too. On the beam over here in your properties, you want your Z justification, which is the height, the vertical elevation. You want it set to top. And you want to make sure you're working on the reference plane is the top of foundation wall level. Okay. And we go here with the top as our justification, and we don't have to offset it up or down or anything. Okay. All right. So that got that done. Now let's go back and look at it here. Next, we have to do a beam pocket. All right. And I'm gonna delete that one out because I've already got my good one in here. A beam pocket is just that. It's a pocket in the wall that the beam will sit in. Okay. And so it rests on the concrete wall. In this case, we can use a beam pocket as opposed to using a pilaster or a column at the end or something like that. And it's pretty common in residential construction. Not so much in commercial, but residential is pretty common. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can build this beam pocket. One is to physically model a void. You can do that. The other way is to create a reveal. And I've got one created here. So I'm going to close that. Yeah, I'm going to change that. Okay. I'm going to show you how to create using the reveal. So we're going to go File, New, Family. Now you want to scroll down here to, where did it go? Oh, Profile, Reveal. That's my template that I want to start with. Okay, and so now this reference line is the face of the wall, and the wall is actually in here. And so I want to draw a line, and I'm going to go ahead and pop it over to a rectangle. And I want this thing to be 4 inches deep and 9 inches tall. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and convert those to hard dimensions. Okay, because our beam is a little bit over 8 inches tall, and in real life, they'll put the beam in place and hold it level with a crane and some jacks to hold it up, and then they would pack high strength grout up under it and some shims to get it to the correct level. So we're going to make our void 8 by 9, and you can save it and then load it into your project. Okay. And then you're going to need to be, works that easier if you're actually looking at your wall. So I'm going to flip that section over and go to it. And now I'll go to my wall, reveal, and I think this is the only time we're using a reveal in this thing. If not, we'll have to edit one later on, but we'll go edit type. And right here for your profile, um, you want to load that reveal that you just created and load it in the project. Now, I just so happened to name mine an 8x9 because when I first did it, I wasn't sure how it was going to create it. So I want it to be 8 inches wide, but it's 9 inches tall. So whatever you did it and named it. So you want to load that and okay. And then I'm going to put it in my wall. And it tells me, it gives me some error warning thingies. Okay. But there it is. So let's go to 3D view. And of course, the normal way of dealing with wall reveals is that they go all the way across. And I want to select it and grab the ends, and I'm just going to kind of pull it back until I get kind of near my beam to where I'll be able to see it in my section view. Oh, wrong section. Here we go. There we go. And I want this thing, let's see, can I dimension it? I want it to be 8 inches total length, which would be 4 inches on either side. Okay. Can't actually create the dimension there, but I can see it and drag it. Okay, so I want it 4 inches on either side, and then I can do an alignment with the top of the wall and the top of that. Okay, and now it's popped it in there. Let's go back to our 3D view. And you can see it's created it in there. Okay, now that makes it 4 inches deep. And when we look at our plan view, that gives us 3/4 of an inch from the end of the beam to the end of the pocket. Because you can't put a 2-foot long steel beam into a 2-foot space. It just won't fit. So you need that space on either end so it can maneuver around. Okay, so let's see, that's 13 minutes on this video. Do that, and then I'll come back with the next video for the column and the base plate. Oh, I forgot to mention, this beam needs to be aligned and dimensioned over your footings. Yeah. Okay,